It's 1999. The N64 is like at its prime.
Yeah.
Racing games are all the rage. And EA decides to release a game all about the Volkswagen Beetle.
It is a bit of a head scratcher, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you consider EA at that time was pretty much known for their sports titles.
Exactly. So get ready for some surprises because we're going to uncover the game's depth.
Okay.
Those incredible tracks, a wild battle mode, and maybe even why some see it as a little bit of a missed opportunity.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Let's start with that IGN review. It actually points out that EA usually avoided non-sports titles on the N64.
Right.
Makes you wonder why they went all in on a Beetle racing game.
Yeah, what was EA thinking?
Well, the review mentions that Beetle Adventure Racing was developed by Paradigm Entertainment,
Okay.
the same studio behind Pilot Wing 64.
Oh, wow.
And Pilot Wing 64 was a huge hit,
Okay.
known for its open world and stunning graphics, really pushed the N64 to its limits.
Right.
Maybe EA saw that success and thought, hey, Paradigm knows how to make a killer N64 game.
Yeah,
Let's see what they can do with a racing game, even if it is about Beetles.
that's a good point. Pilot Wings did set a new standard for what the N64 could do.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe EA was looking at Paradigm as their like open world studio?
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's definitely possible.
And that's why they took a chance on such a quirky concept.
And it seems like that open world influence bleeds into Beetle Adventure Racing.
Okay.
The IGN review talks about the game going beyond just racing. They use terms like exploration and no-holds-barred level design,
Yeah.
even comparing it to Banjo-Kazooie.
Wow.
It's not just about staying on the track.
Right.
It's about discovering this vast, expansive world.
So instead of just racing, you're driving through this world uncovering secrets and shortcuts.
Yeah.
It's almost like the N64 itself was made for these huge immersive games.
You might be onto something there.
Yeah.
The N64 is powerful,
Right.
especially when it came to 3D environments.
Yeah.
Maybe that encouraged developers to think bigger,
Uh-huh.
to create these sprawling worlds for players to get lost in.
And speaking of getting lost, let's talk about those tracks.
Okay.
I mean, you're racing through Stonehenge, a haunted forest, an Egyptian pyramid with hidden tunnels.
The variety is pretty incredible, and it's not just the visuals.
Right.
The IGN review was blown away by how much there was to explore in each track.
Okay.
They were finding new areas every single time they played.
Really?
There's even a story about the reviewer accidentally falling through a chasm and ending up in a whole new cave.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It sounds like Paradigm packed these tracks with secrets. You're not just racing, you're constantly discovering new areas.
Right.
Which must have been a blast for players back in the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine firing up this game for the first time back then.
Yeah.
You think you're getting a simple racing game,
Right.
but then you stumble upon these hidden areas, these little pockets of the game world that most players might never see.
I can see why people would have fond memories of this game.
Yeah.
That sense of discovery, the
Wow.
surprise of finding something new that's special.
Totally.
And it all starts with these incredibly designed tracks.
It makes you wonder if other N64 racers at the time were this ambitious with their track design.
Yeah.
Were they trying to capture that same feeling of exploration?
You're racing past the pyramids, right?
Yeah.
I can almost feel the sand spraying up from the tires.
I
It makes me wonder if any other games at the time tried to capture a specific feeling like that.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
We see a lot of imaginative tracks in N64 racing games,
Sure.
but the scale and intricacy of Beetle Adventure Racing do seem to stand out.
Yeah.
It's like they wanted to create a world that felt alive and full of possibilities, not just a series of racetracks.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got these expansive tracks, this sense of exploration, but there's one thing that both the IGN and Medium reviews bring up.
Yeah.
You can only drive Beetles,
Right.
even with the different paint jobs.
Yeah.
It seems like a little bit of a limitation, right?
Yeah, the one car thing definitely stands out.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider that by 1999,
Right.
racing games were starting to feature multiple car licenses.
Yeah.
The Medium review even calls it a sellout game,
Really?
suggesting that they missed an opportunity to include a wider variety of vehicles.
I see their point, but I'm curious how common was multi-car licensing back then? Was it like the standard? Or was EA actually playing it safe by focusing on just the Beetle?
That's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Multi-car licensing was becoming more common, sure,
Uh-huh.
but it wasn't like a necessity.
Okay.
Look at Wave Race 64, for example.
Right.
Huge hit,
Yeah.
and it only featured jet skis.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe EA wanted to really highlight the Beetle, make it the star of the show.
Maybe that was the idea.
Yeah,
Lean into the Beetles' unique personality and charm.
possibly.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were limited by whatever licensing agreement they had with Volkswagen.
Right.
We can only speculate on that front.
Yeah, for sure.
But even with the single car choice,
Okay.
Beetle Adventure Racing tries to mix things up with its 4-player battle mode.
Oh, yeah.
The IGN review calls it Beetle Battle,
Okay.
and it sounds pretty wild.
Oh, yeah, I was just getting to that.
Okay.
So instead of racing, the goal is to collect these bug icons scattered throughout the levels.
Okay.
But here's the catch. You need one of each color to win.
Oh, wow.
And those icons are constantly changing colors.
Yeah, constantly changing colors.
Yeah.
That sounds chaotic
Yeah.
and fun.
Right.
Was this kind of gameplay innovative for the time?
I think so.
Were any other N64 racers doing anything similar?
It's definitely a twist on the typical racing formula.
Yeah.
And to make things even more interesting, you've got power-ups,
Okay. Like what?
like screen-flipping Steelers and the classic rockets.
I can only imagine the mayhem.
Yeah.
The review also mentioned a final dash for the exit once you've collected all the icons.
Oh, wow.
Talk about pressure.
Yeah.
You've got your bugs,
Yeah.
you're trying to escape, and your opponents are hot on your tail, firing rockets and stealing icons.
Oh, man, that's intense.
Yeah.
I bet there were some epic comebacks and last-minute victories in those Beetle battle matches.
Sounds like the kind of mode that can keep people playing long after they've mastered the tracks.
For sure.
Nice touch to add replay value. And speaking of things that hold up over time,
Yeah.
the graphics in Beetle Adventure Racing got some serious praise.
Okay.
The IGN review actually said they were a step above both Pilotwings 64 and F1 World Grand Prix,
Oh.
which were known for pushing the N64's graphical limits.
Now that's saying something.
I know, right?
They highlighted reflections on the car,
Yeah.
objects breaking apart realistically, particle effects like snowflakes and sparks.
Wow.
Even the wake left by the cars when driving through shallow water.
It's incredible.
For 1999, that must have been impressive.
It's a testament to Paradigm's skill as developers.
Yeah,
They were known for squeezing every ounce of power out of the N64.
totally.
It makes you wonder, though, how do those graphics hold up today?
Yeah,
Do they still have that same charm?
right.
Or have they been surpassed by modern racing games?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
Sometimes those older games have a certain feel
Yeah.
that transcends the graphics.
I know what you mean.
It's more about the memories they evoke, the fun you had playing them.
For sure.
But I will say, the reviewer did call out one specific detail that was cutting edge for the time.
Okay.
The reflection mapping.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Apparently, as you drive by a sign in the game,
Yeah.
it's reflected on your car's paint.
Wow.
It wasn't true reflection.
Okay.
More of a clever trick using the full screen view mapped onto the car.
I see.
Still for 1999.
Yeah.
It must have been mind-blowing.
I can see why they highlighted that.
Yeah.
It's those little touches that show how developers were constantly finding new ways to push the boundaries of what the N64 could do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But even with those amazing graphics,
Uh-huh.
there's one area where Beetle Adventure Racing seems to falter:
Okay.
the soundtrack.
Ah, the soundtrack.
Yeah,
The Achilles heel of many a great game.
right.
What didn't they like about it?
The reviewer called it generic drum and bass.
Okay.
Not bad,
Yeah.
but not really fitting the diverse themes of the tracks.
Yeah.
They even joked that it would have been cooler if EA had licensed some of those tunes from the Beetle commercials.
It's a shame they didn't go that route.
Yeah.
But how common was licensed music in racing games back then?
It was starting to become more popular,
Okay.
but not to the extent we see today.
Right.
So maybe EA was trying to save money,
Yeah.
or they wanted to create their own unique sound.
Yeah.
Whatever the reason, it seems like a little bit of a missed opportunity.
It does.
The right music can really elevate a racing game. That's all for this deep dive.
Okay.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep those requests coming.
Yes.